Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the opportunity to attend this conference. At the beginning, I would like to introduce myself to you. My name is Radoslav ŠKVRNDA, and I work as a prison officer in Hrnciarovce at Parnou prison. And I'm also a PhD candidate at the University of Trnava. Referring to the economic chart of the conference, I would like to introduce you to the issue of employment of convicts in the prison where I work. So, a brief look at the issue of employment of convicts from a historical perspective. The punishment of forced labor has historically been an integral part of the penal policy of states or empires, and in various forms predates the actual imprisonment type of punishment by thousands of years. Slave labor has also shaped human history, and according to Bob Hinton, a slave was just a unit of labor in just the same way a bulldozer is today. This type of punishment had a significant economic impact for states and empires in building infrastructure, from simple roads, canals, and quarries to colossal structures that likely would not have been built without slave labor. However, all this was associated with immense human suffering, and the punishment of forced labor gradually changed as society evolved. The obligation to work has been an integral part of imprisonment since the beginning of the formation of this method of sanction as a universal punishment. In modern society, the employment of convicted person or prisoners is an integral part of imprisonment and fulfills several functions within a sentence. Prison and court guard service, the Corps of Prison and Court Guard, is an armed security service that fulfills the tasks linked not only to execution of pretrial detention and prison sentence, protection and guarding of the corps buildings, but also to the protection of order and security in the premises of prosecution offices and courts in the territory of Slovakia or Slovak Republic. The corps, in carrying out tasks assigned to it by the relevant legislation, organizes and carries out activities aimed at employing accused and convicted persons by assigning them to work in enterprise centers or internal operation centers or with individual institutes or prisons. The aim is to create jobs for accused and convict persons, conditions for obtaining or increasing the professional qualification of convicts, and preconditions for their resocialization. Basic principles of employment of convicts. Prisoners shall be included to work in compliance with the purpose of the prison sentence execution, whereas the health state using the occupation qualification and fulfillment of treatment program aims shall be regarded. Inclusion of the prisoner to work is a special relation between the prison and the prisoner, by which no labor relation or another similar labor legal relation arises. The corps can anytime end the inclusion of the prisoner to work, and also without mentioning the reason. The prison shall fulfill duties of an employer against the prisoner included to work. The relevant sections of the labor code shall be used appropriately when including prisoners to work. Physical person or legal person in the spaces where prisoners work shall fulfill duties for ensuring safety and security of health at work in accordance with special regulation and agreement with the prison. Forms of employment of accused and convict persons. Internal operations, or in Slovak vnútorná prevádzka, for example, cleaning, catering, building maintenance, car workshop, laundry, warehouses, libraries, medical facilities, and other work necessary to ensure the proper running of the institutes or prisons. The second one is the enterprise center or vnútorné hospodárstvo in Slovak, in shortcut EC, own production. Inmates produce products for the needs of the institutes or prisons, and the general directorate of the corps or other entitles or other entities of the state administration, public administration, as well as the private sector. These include, for example, textiles, clothing for officers, clothing for prisoners, socks, workwear, bed sheets and sheets, wooden and metal beds, prison furniture for prisoners, cabinets for weapons, keys and mobile phones, agricultural products. The third one is enterprise center, provision of work and services. Employment opportunities for prisoners are also obtained in the enterprise center by providing work and services to other legal entities and individuals at their workplaces. These are state institutions, municipalities, public institutions, or private businesses. The range of work and the services provided by the prison service through prisoners is very diverse and includes, for example, various assembly and disassembly work, sewing of shoes, clothing, disassembly of electrical components, waste separation, cleaning work, assembly of electrical components, automotive components, work in the construction industry, forestry, mechanical engineering, woodworking industry, agriculture, food processing, and other establishments. This work is being carried out by the prisoners inside or outside the institution in the enterprises or establishments belonging to the persons ordering the work. In these establishments, prisoners very often work together with the civilian employees of the client. So here's the aerial photograph of the Hrnciarovce and Parnou prison. A short characteristic: Hrnciarovce and Parnou prison facility is situated on the southwestern outskirts of the urban area of Trnava city in the administrative territory of the municipality of Hrnciarovce and Parnou, and with its 1,443 prisoners capacity is the largest facility of prison in the Slovak Republic. In 2021, the prison carried out the employment of convicts in 35 workplaces of Enterprise Center or vnútorné hospodárstvo in Slovak, EC, which consisted of, so there's a short table, there were 10 workplaces outside the prison with supervision, one workplace outside the prison with direct supervision, 13 unguarded workplaces outside the prison with so-called free movement, 8 workplaces in prison with supervision, 3 workplaces in prison with free movement. So there's a photograph of inmates making protection mask made of textile. The average number of inmates placed in work in 2021 compared to 2020 was down by 203 inmates. The decrease in percentage employment in 2021 compared to 2020 was 24.85%. This was due to a lower average number of convicts classified in 2021 than in 22. The overall average number of inmates housed was lower by 15 inmates. The lower number of enrolled convicts in 2021 was caused by the suspension of workplaces due to the COVID-19 disease. Due to the quarantine ordered by the regional public health office and the measures taken, the institution or prison had to suspend all workplaces in the prison and outside the prison in the month of January 2021. At the beginning of February 2021, the institution started to gradually open supervised and free movement type of workplaces in the prison, followed by supervised and free movement workplaces outside the prison. Following the suspension of the workplace and a misunderstanding of the overall situation by one of the major clients of the work, the latter proceeded to terminate the cooperation, resulting in a shortfall of 222 enrolled convicts. So there's a table comparing year 2021 and 2020. In 2021, there was a decrease in the average total number of inmates from 2020 by 15 inmates housed in the institution, and the number of classified inmates decreased from 2020 by 203 classified inmates. This table shows us the average number of classified convicts in 2015 by 2021. So as you can see, there's a significant drop in 2021, which was caused by the one of the clients leave, like I mentioned before. Legislative framework and work remuneration. The work remuneration shall belong to the prisoner type of performed work, time usage of labor input norm. He shall not be entitled to remuneration for the time when he was not worked. The amount of the labor remuneration and the condition for its provision shall be established by the government of the Slovak Republic by regulation. Deductions shall be made and paid by the prison from the gross work remuneration of the convicted person in accordance with special regulation, the balance being the net remuneration from which deduction shall be made if the balance is more than 5% of the amount of the minimum subsistence wage, according to a special regulation in the amount and in the order of payment of alimony to persons against whom the prisoner has the obligation to pay maintenance, charges of the prison sentence execution, claims in the basis of the decision of the prisoner government against the prisoner, claims of the other entitled lead against the prisoner. So here are two tables comparing average monthly remuneration in enterprise centers and internal operations in 2020 and in 2021. This graph shows the status of classifiable convicts at workplaces in Hrnciarovce not Parnou prison in 2021. So 41% unclassified convicted or convicts, 10% were listed in internal operations, 24% of inmates were listed in a workplace in prison, 4% of classifiable inmates were placed at the workplace outside prison with free movement, and 21% were listed in a workplace outside the prison. This graph shows the percentage of convicts classified in Hrnciarovce and Parnou prison to the total number of convicts classified in other Slovak prison facilities in 2021. So the Hrnciarovce and Parnou prison fills the 13% of all of the 18 prison institutions in Slovakia. Next one is Leopoldo with 12%. This chart shows the expenditure from the budget of the prison remuneration of convicts for labor activity. More details and explanations will be listed in the full text. Next table shows the revenue to the budget, invoicing of workplaces for the works of convicts. From the economic point of view, the income from the distribution of the work remuneration of convicts is an important contribution to the budget of the individual institutions. The deductions made are used to cover the costs of serving the prison sentence, to pay maintenance for the dependents, and to settle other claims for the beneficiaries. When the convicted person is not working, part of these expenses is reimbursed from the state budget. In addition to the economic aspect of the employment of prisoners, the personality of the accused and convicted, their relationship to values, and the discovery and improvement of their own abilities come to the fore. Regular and purposeful work alleviates the stress of long-term isolation in a close community. As can be seen from the attached graph, Hrnciarovce and Parnou prison accounts for 13% of the total employment of convicts in Slovakia, which is the highest among all 18 prison facilities in Slovakia. Despite the significant loss of a client in 2021 who employed an average of 222 inmates and whose departure was partly related to the pandemic situation. Preliminary subdata from 2022 shows that this loss is gradually being replaced by increased capacity for additional clients. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attention.